Jimmy, it's been a long time waiting, and the day's finally almost upon us. Just thoughts, firstly, to finally get competitive action underway.
Probably the best word to describe it would be relieved. Obviously a lot of uncertainty. We've kind of tried to come back in time for a season to start 3 weeks prior to this date. It was delayed, put everything, put our plans off track, so to speak, and the uncertainty of completing 5 or 6 weeks of pre-season to be heard of the news that no fans were coming into the ground, and that may jeopardise the season start date. It was difficult, but obviously we're a day away now, and all our hard work hopefully will come to the forefront tomorrow in our first game against Woking.
The first thing that comes to mind is that it's behind closed doors, and without the support physically there, it's going to have an effect, isn't it, really, because the atmosphere won't be there as such, and players will be able to hear each other on the ball and view from the touchline, so it's going to be a different sort of atmosphere.
It will. I mean, obviously pre-season's been the same for us. So we've had 6 games in that kind of surroundings, and my previous background of working at under 23 level, lots of your games would have a crowd of no more than 50 people. So I'm used to it. Players that have come through that experience and that background will be used to it. Players that have played in the lower leagues will be used to that also. So I guess the advantages will be that we'll be able to, the players will be able to hear instruction onto the pitch. The disadvantage obviously is having that support behind you, and people encouraging you and giving you that extra 10-15%.
Have you been able to scout working much? Has there been much footage out there to sort of plan as you would for a normal game where there's been previous clips and footage of the teams?
No, it's been difficult, in all fairness. I think most clubs at this stage of the season, in terms of preparing for your first game, you would have limited access and limited footage anyway. So we found it particularly more difficult this time round. We've had footage on Woking. It's not been the best of quality. I think they've been assembling their squad over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So there's been lots of trialists in their games. So it's just been a case of trying to understand their general shape and general structure and general patterns, and formulate a game plan off that. I've said to the boys though from day one, it's kind of the 80-20 rule. We'll concentrate 80% on what Solihull want to do and how we want to play, and the 20% will be the little tweaks in what the opposition give us.
And as for your own team, just looking at the pre-season games results, you like to win them, but ultimately it's all about tomorrow. And just in terms of the shape you side you're in, you're looking forward to seeing them out there in competitive action.
Yeah, I don't think anything can recreate that first game and a real competitive edge to a game. So I think we're in a good place. I think we've done lots of good work tactically. Physically, we're in a good place. We seem to have come through pre-season with most players coming through unscathed, and of course you're going to get some tightness and some irritations. Touch wood, we're in a good place with the fitness of our squad. So we're gearing towards that first game, and I'm hoping that competitive nature of the first game of the season, we grow another 10-15% with our game model.
Obviously now that the team have been playing in pre-season, and tomorrow you're going to go to Woking and look to dictate play from the get-go. Yeah,
listen, I'm probably a big fan of controlling the game and gaining control of the game. That being said, we want to play forward, we want to break lines, we want to penetrate, we want lots of final third entries, we want to be in around that area of the pitch. And we don't have the ball, simply we want it back as quick as we possibly can, and that's going to be us throughout the season, regardless of opposition. Some teams we're going to have to maybe tweak what we do, and we may have to give or take a little bit depending on who we're playing. But most definitely, we want to take control of every game. We want to be creative. We want to be forward thinking. When we haven't got the ball, we want the ball back as quick as we possibly can, and that'll be no different in any game we play this season.
It's a strange one as well, because we're in October now, and usually you'd be starting the season, nice summer's day, but it's going to be a proper football battle out there, isn't it, with the wind and the rain?
I think so. Yeah, I just looked at the news this morning, and the weather forecast was a storm coming in. So I can pretty much take any strand of weather. Obviously the wind is a game ruiner, so I'm hoping the wind isn't a big spoiler on the day. But other than that, listen, we prepare to play in every condition. If it's wet, hopefully it slicks the pitch and makes the pitch a little bit quicker for us, so we can move the ball a little bit quicker. So we'll just take whatever tomorrow gives us, having had such a lengthy time out.
I just want to touch on the fans. Obviously they won't be there in the numbers, but watching hopefully on the live stream, and you know, I think that they must be excited to see the team you've put together for the first time.
I'd hope so, yeah. And obviously, you know, the streaming is a fantastic way of the fans still supporting the football club, you know, and having an input and knowing what we're doing. You know, obviously, it's nice to have that vocal point when you're at a game, you know, when you can, you know, at our level we can hear the fans and, you know, and then viewing their expressions in terms of how the team are playing, how players are playing, etc. But you know, they can certainly still jump online and watch the game, and hopefully on the fans forums and on the Twitter feeds and things like that, you know, have an input into what their eyes see.
And just finally, it's, you know, it's been 2 months since the first scheduled start date and another month since the second. Just finally, you know, we put the hashtag Let's Play out there. Finally, we can get going, and I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? Because otherwise, we just wouldn't have got started, would we?
Yeah, I think if the season hadn't started tomorrow, you know, I'd have a real fear for the football pyramid and where that would leave, you know, many clubs, ours included, you know, and even, you know, the greater community, you know, where that would have left Solihull as a football club, I'm unsure, I don't know. So I think it's imperative that the season starts tomorrow. We're grateful and we're glad that the season starts tomorrow, and as I said, you know, that the hard work that we've put in for the last 6 weeks, hopefully we see the benefits and the fruits of that on Saturday.